everyone, thank you for tuning in Team Forbidden's YouTube page again. I'm Andrew the Collector.
And I am Seto Summon the Fanatic, also known as Hello Doctor. Nah, just kidding. It's Timelords. We got Timelords going for you. Something a little different this time, because the Collector and I both have a Timelord deck, and we actually took relatively different approaches to it. So we're basically doing a double deck profile for you on Timelords.
First time, I think, ever. Has anyone ever done a double deck profile?
I don't think anyone has. This is definitely, I don't see a lot of Timelord deck profiles on the internet also. It's a deck that's probably going a little bit under the radar, actually.
Yeah, and it's really good against a lot of the top tier decks too, like Zodiacs and even True Dracos if you pull the right hand.
It's like, oh, we're immune to destruction. Go ahead, try and pop my monster. I dare you.
I've actually had a few people try and do that on me. It's like, why isn't it destroying? It's like, it can't be destroyed by card effect.
What? Read the card.
All right. So anyway, let's get right into it. We're going to be showing both of our decks simultaneously because it's like half we got half of it the same and half differently. So as we go along, we'll kind of show our differences. But for now, let's just get right into it.
All right. First things first.
So the first ones we have are the two.
The first Time Lord, Mitayan the Time Lord. He's rocking the Legendary Collection 5Ds one and the original Photon Shockwave. That's actually the only thing you could like pull a third Mitayan out of there, but
yeah.
But I just ran 3 of the gold because I kind of like the gold. I think it looks good.
His main, they all share the same first effect. They can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and you take no damage. And after they do battle, they all different effects go off.
Yeah, the one difference between Mitayan and the other ones, Mitayan has to be in attack position for no battle damage. The rest of them don't.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of them, aside from Sephiron, but nobody plays Sephiron because we don't have Infinite Light yet. So
his effect is that at the end of the battle phase, if he battled, all monsters on the field are sent back to the owner's hands, and your opponent takes 300 points of damage for each.
All monsters other than himself. So keep that in mind if you've got like multiple Time Lords on the field. If you're resolving their effects, you want to resolve his last.
Also with the Time Lords, during your first standby phase after they are normal summoned, that's also another thing, they can be normal summoned without tributes
if you control no monsters.
If you have no monsters. And the standby phase, for your standby phase after that, they are shuffled back into the deck.
Alright, so that's Mitayan, that's the first one. Next one is the other Fire Time Lord, Lazian the Time Lord.
Again, no destruction effect, no battle damage, can be normal summoned without tributes. I'm just going to stop saying that now because they all share that.
All of them share that.
And they also all get shuffled back.
Yeah, Lazian's got 2 special abilities. One is all the Time Lords have an effect that activates after they battle. Lazian's effect is after he battles, it shuffles all cards in your opponent's graveyard into the deck.
And once per turn, when your opponent draws a card, they take 1,000 points of damage. So if you're able to get 2 out, which is possible, they would take
2,000 damage when they draw a card. It's at any point during their turn. Again, they stack. It's not a hard once per turn. It's just once per turn for him.
And the next one is probably one of the better ones, Zaphian, the Time Lord.
Arguably the best Time Lord because she replaces herself if she goes to the graveyard.
Yeah. After she does battle at the end of the battle phase, all spells and traps on your opponent's side of the field get shuffled.
Yeah, all back into the deck.
And when she goes to the graveyard, which is one of the main differences between our decks, is I run something that triggers her effect and you don't. Is when she goes to the graveyard, you draw a card, which they watered her down significantly from the anime because in the 5Ds anime, when Zone played this card, that effect would trigger even when it went back into the deck via its own effect, and he would draw to like a full hand of 5 from her. So they watered her down significantly. And
so she's broken, but not as broken.
And the final Time Lord is
Camian the Time Lord.
Camian the Time Lord. He has probably one of my more favorite effects, just because it's kind of trollsy at times. But after he does battle, you can target 1 card on the field or your opponent's side of the field, and you can shuffle that back into the deck. And the best part about that is
he's strike proof. You can't chain to it at all.
No cards can be activated in response to it, and they would lose 500 points of damage.
Yeah, that's the other Time Lords. The ones we don't have in here, we don't run Sadian the Time Lord, because he kind of sucks. Yeah, I'll get my life points below 4,000. You're not taking battle damage. Why do you even have it?
You may want to side deck one if you're not drawing your Time Lords enough to just add in extra ones, but you don't really need to.
And Cephalon, of course, is the other Time Lord out there, but nobody runs him because we currently don't have all the Time Lords yet. There's still like 6 or 7 more that need to get released.
Really, that many?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay.
There's 11 in total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And probably one of the most important cards in the deck.
Time Maiden.
Her effect is pretty insane.
I mean, I think you mean effects, because she's got more than one.
True, yes.
And honestly, she's... Originally, she was just Kaiser Seahorse for Time Lords.
Yeah.
But they've updated her effect in Tag Force. She was originally just a special summon only monster, meaning you could just... It was, you had to summon her through her effect and you couldn't summon her through other ways. This, the way they've updated her is beautiful. She still has the 2 tribute for Time Lords for some reason.
Yeah.
But the effect that you're mostly going to be using her for is you can special summon her and then just tribute her to add any Time Lord with 0 attack from your deck to your hand.
Yeah. And on a turn where you did not special summon a monster when she's in the graveyard, you can banish her to special summon one directly from your deck to your side of the field, ignoring its summoning conditions. So that's really good.
Because that's another effect they all share, is they can't be special summoned from the deck, because otherwise you could just Mystic Tomato if there were a dark one.
And now for this is where our decks kind of go off, but we ran the same kind of engine.
We're both running the Kaiju engine, funny enough. He's running only he's running 3 Jizukuters, I'm only running the 2. To supplement our Kaiju engine, he's also got 1 Gardarla, 1 Kumungus, and 1 Gameciel. I'm running the whole TDG engine, which is Thunder King, Dogoran, Gardarla, or really it should be DGT. Get it? If you're a Kaiju fan, you should get it. If you're a Kaiju, or as I should say, if you're a Kaiju groupie like us, you should get it. Pacific Rim Tomb coming out soon, yes! And I've got 2 Gameciels.
Gameciel for the Gameciel.
Yeah, I'm not running any of Kumungus. I was running Kumungus when I first built the deck, but I switched it out to the Gameciels, 1, because they're weaker, 2, for the other way that our deck differs. You'll see that in just a second.
I just wanted to play with one of each because I'm going to get into why I run him mostly, but I like to run these just to give it more variety.
Mm-hmm. And this is where our decks start to differ a little bit.
So for my last monsters, I have 1 Maxi and 1 Exodios.
Mine, I've only got 1 extra monster, which is 1 Mathematician. If it were at more than 1, I would run more than 1, because essentially the strategy with Exodios is you get another level 10 monster out there and it shuffles the cards back, and Max C is Max C. Yeah, Mathematician...
Because for Exodios, if, like, let's say you have Time Lords in your graveyard, for mine, I don't really have any other ways to get them out or to reuse them. Scott does. We'll get into that later. But for me, if they, for some reason, do get into your graveyard, you use Exodios to shuffle them back into your deck, and obviously Max C to draw them.
Yeah. Mathematician, strategy with this, drop him, dump Tide Maiden, remove Time Maiden, special summon Time Lord.
Alright, that's it for our monsters. For our spells, for me, my main spells that I'm running are Creature Swap.
Mine is Advanced Draw, and this is where the strategy of my Time Lord deck comes into play.
For Creature Swap, obviously, let's say that I summon a Time Lord, I do its shenanigans, and they still have a monster on their side of the field. I activate Creature Swap, it goes to their side, and I get their monster. When their standby phase comes, the Time Lord on their side of the field goes back to my deck because it's technically their standby phase, and they are 1 less monster, and I just plussed on a monster.
Alright, Advanced Draw. Advanced Draw works in a myriad of different ways. Basically, Advanced Draw, it's an older card, so some people might not know what it does. It's you tribute 1 face-up level 8 or higher monster you control, and then you draw 2 cards. Now, of course, you can do this with any of the Kaijus, or you could do it with any of the Time Lords. In particular, the one you want to do it with is Zaphion the Time Lord. You remember that effect where when she goes to the graveyard, you draw a card?
So basically, you +3.
Well, it's really more like a +1. Because you're essentially even trading with the monster in the card, but you're +1ing off of Zaphion drawing that extra card.
For our next spells, for me, I'm running 3 Pot of Dualities.
And I'm running 2 Forbidden Chalice because monster effects that bounce the Time Lords, like say Castells or stuff like that, or Firewall Dragon when it comes out.
And for me, Pot of Duality, it's actually a really good tech choice because most of the time you are going to be just normal summoning. The only real ones that you're going to be special summoning are your Time Maidens, and Exodios, the Kaijus, and just a few extra decks here and there, but it's a really good tech choice just to get to your cards faster.
Yep, and Chalice is just, oh, you want to stop my effects from going off? Yeah, no.
And since we're both running Kaijus, obviously,
2 Slumbers, because we can run the 2.
If you don't know why we're running this, you should kill yourself.
No, don't say that.
Just kidding. Don't kill yourself. Just go to school and be smart.
You should go back in time and go to school.
Yes.
That's what you should do.
Alright, and next for me, I'm running 2 Dark Holes and 1 Regeki.
I'm running a Foolish Burial, again, to get Time Maiden in the graveyard.
I just like to troll my opponent with Dark Hole because I
summon Time Lord, can't be destroyed.
Exactly.
And then Regeki is Regeki. I might put Regeki in here now because I've got an extra room for it, so...
Yeah.
And then we're both running 1 for 1 to get to Time Maiden a little faster. I mean, the majority of the cards in our decks are monster cards. This will just summon Time Maiden out, and then you just tribute her off for her effect.
Alright, that's it for our spells. Now on to our traps. For me, the best trap I have is Rivalry of the Warlords.
Yep, mine, I'm actually going to do a double header on this one.
That's what she said.
Ha 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 ha. I've got 3 Call of the Haunted and 3 Limit Reverse. The one downside of using the Advanced Draw Engine is yes, you +1 off of it and you get yourself 3 new cards that you didn't have before, but the downside is it leaves your field completely empty. What these do is they mitigate that, and if they try to say Twin Twisters or Cosmic Cyclone you can chain this to the Twin Twisters and Cosmic Cyclone, and because your Time Lords are immune to destruction, they will stay on the field and protect your life points.
Yep. For mine, Rivalry of the Warlords, I think it's going to be good, especially with links the way that they currently are, at least for the first few weeks until they truly explode, because let's say that you have Rivalry on your side of the field, they summon out their Decode Talker or any of the other link monsters, their Cybers, which are really in short abundance nowadays, so if they just have that out, they can't really do much anything else, and it really locks them out. But that might change in the future once they get more Cybers cards, so for now, it's a really good tech choice for Time Lords or really any deck nowadays.
Yeah, and for those wondering why Limit Reverse or for something like Oasis of Dragon Souls, it's because all of them has 0 attack.
Yep.
Or all the ones that we're running anyways.
And for our for our other traps, we have I have 2 Stormy Mirror Force.
I've got 1 Torrential because immune to destruction.
Yeah, so might as well. And I run this one other than Quaking because links.
Yeah, pretty much. And Solemn Warning.
Yeah.
Hey, it's even the same one.
Now we can move on to our extra decks. Extra decks are really slim, but
mostly because you don't really go into the extra deck all that much. And I mean, 9 times out of 10 when you do, it's going into this guy.
Yeah,
which you generally just run 2 of it just because.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you don't run 2 just because. You run 2 because of goddamn Lithosac.
Yeah, true. So obviously into the extra deck, I have 2 Doras.
I'd run 2, but I've only got the 1 here right now because I can only find the 1.
Then 2 Gustav Max for obvious reasons.
Yeah, any 2 Time Lords burn 3,000 and then boom. And
then my final 2 are the Sky Palace and this guy.
Yeah, I'd probably run the Sky Palace if I had a copy of it. Right now, this is the only other rank 10 that I could find that was viable. Run this and 7 Sins.
The only real reason why I'm running this is because yes, he requires 3 level 10s, which is probably going to happen like once every blue moon. But I'd rather have him just in case I'm able to pull it off versus times when I'd rather have him when I need him versus times I don't have him and then really need him. Yeah. And I have an extra deck.
You need a side deck.
Side deck. I keep doing that. Sorry.
Yeah.
But for my side deck, I'm running 2 Fiendish Chain because it's Fiendish Chain. lose 1 turn. It's a really good tech choice for this one because the Time Lords are
all normal
summons and not special summoned.
Yeah, the only time that lose 1 turn will really hurt you if you're running it is if you summon it with Time Maiden, in which case it will go to defense mode.
Yeah. I have an extra Exodios just in case I need him. And probably one of the funniest tech choices is Clashing Souls. If you don't know what it is, basically it's like chicken game except for attack points in battle.
It's an actual chicken game is what it actually is.
Yeah, and the person who loses, all cards on their side of the field are sent to the graveyard. So long story short, even if your opponent gets more attacks, nothing will happen and they just deplete their life points for no reason. And probably the final tech choice is one that might come back to relevance, is Cave of the Super Ancient Organism. This single-handedly destroys ABCs.
It destroys ABCs, it destroys Dark Lords, it destroys Blue Eyes if they destroy it. This thing stops Crystal Wing, actually.
Yeah, it's actually really good to have this against ABCs because ABCs are probably this deck's probably worst matchup, or one of them.
Because it can just banish, which ABCs aren't really going to be doing anything until the 10s in August, but once those 10s come out and we get Proxy Dragon, ABCs are going to be a force to be reckoned with because those things can be used with links, and look forward to the deck profile on that coming up end of August.
Yeah, once the booster box comes out, that's when we're going to release the ABC deck profile for links.
Not the booster box, the 10s.
10. That's right.
Because it's Proxy Dragon, because we can't use Mrs. Radiant and ABCs because they're all light.
Oh yeah, that's right. Proxy Dragon doesn't come in the next booster box.
Nope, it does not.
All right. Anyway, thank you for tuning into this first ever double deck profile video. It's a little experiment that we might do more in the future, but we'll see how it goes. So in the meantime, I'm Andrew the Collector.
And I am Secho Sama the Fanatic.
And we will catch you guys later.
Geronimo!